for the last item on the agenda, which is selectmen comments. So Holly, just before I forget, if you could add the pilot to our next agenda, which is June 9th. God willing, nothing will come up in between now and then. So Julie, do you have anything that you would like to?
Actually, I do. I wrote a statement, and I feel that at this point we need to have an action plan as a board. Now that the annual town meeting has dissolved, I think the Board of Selectmen and the town administrator, we've got our work cut out for us. I believe it is imperative that we as a board try to identify any and all sources of revenue and savings for FY15, which begins on July 1st. Some of the laundry list of items that I think we should investigate: the possibility of a waiver of Templeton's minimum contribution as set forth in the provisions of Chapter 38, Section 71, the Acts of 2013. Once the state budget is voted, review and pursue any reduction in regional transportation for both Narragansett Regional School District and Monty Tech. Negotiate a contract with Light and Water to process payroll and vendor warrants. I think as many of us as possible should try to attend that June 10th meeting, maybe even post it as a joint meeting.
I
Okay,
can't
with the
come,
commission.
I'm sorry.
I know, it's hard to get to everything,
Sorry.
but, you know, post it in case we have a quorum.
Yeah.
In case we
Okay.
show up.
I'm just saying I probably couldn't come.
Right now, neither light nor water budgets have been appropriated at town meeting. The Board of Selectmen authorization to sign payroll and vendor warrants comes from votes that are taken at town meeting to approve budgets. As it currently stands, we have no authorization to sign light and water payroll or vendor warrants. Pursue and negotiate a formal pilot payment with Templeton Municipal Light Department. Pursue money for dispatch services from the enterprise funds. That would include light and water and sewer, so that they could kick in a proportional share of the costs of that. I believe we should ask the accountant to estimate how much money will be needed to pay unpaid bills for FY14, because that's going to impact, that figure drives the timeline on employees returning back to work. If the highway crew comes back in September or October, the construction season is effectively over. And residents need to be informed if there will be a delay in the road projects that we discussed prior to the annual town meeting. The cemetery department is running on fumes. There's no money to pay for gas to mow the cemetery, and a question came up if volunteers could fill out waivers to mow, and I believe they're accepting gas cards to get gas for the lawnmowers, because there isn't enough gas left in the gas account. Okay, that's being saved for emergency, police and fire. As we discussed tonight, the lack of inspectional services is going to impact many projects. It's going to include the building permit for the wood chip boiler, Title V inspections, and businesses opening in town. And I think we should notify the school department to go out to bid for snow plowing, like we did last year, because the town just isn't going to have the capacity to do the plowing. And do we know when the new elementary school project will be ready to go before ballot for the capital debt exclusion? Do we know the timing of that?
Well, we can check with the committee, which I don't think has met, which
Right,
hasn't met since.
It hasn't met recently.
No,
so-
not since it was passed,
okay,
so.
all right. And I think we need to closely coordinate all of these issues so that we can avoid having multiple town meetings or special town meetings and ballot elections. So I think, you know, we need to have some kind of plan in place as a board, and there's things that I've forgotten. So if people have ideas to add to that, please do, because it's really, 15 as tight as it is, and if we're going to carry over stuff from 14 into 15, it just postpones when we can bring people back.
Do you, I don't know if you have an extra copy of that list, or if you could email it to Holly to
email it
put
to
it on
Holly.
the, so that we can put those, all the individual items like the minimum contribution, the snow,
Oh, yeah.
so that we can add those as, to the June 9th agenda. I mean, if that's okay with you.
You want me to just, yeah, I'll
Yeah,
just, yeah, I have this, I saved it as
Yeah.
a Word doc.
So Holly, if you could add those items on there and then notify the
determine
appropriate. Yes, because, just because some of them, because they involve different departments and different.
Okay, and then by order should be
Yeah.
good.
And then like if it like gets like crazy, like that agenda is like 4
Right.
pages long, we can always look at it to move some of those onto the meeting that's 2 weeks after that or 1 week after that as well. So when you handle some of them at the beginning, that one meeting and some of the next. Thank you very much. Was that everything?
That was it.
Doug, do you have anything?
The thing I was gonna really talk about was that, the volunteers that we had at East Templeton on Saturday, we had 8 people show up. We got a lot done, it was really good to see that community involvement. We're gonna probably work there the next couple of Saturdays. Diana has volunteered to be our point person there, so she's available, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday during the day. So if people want to volunteer and work, during the week, during the day, they just need to get a hold of her to get in and make sure we get waivers signed. We'll probably be working at least the next 2 or 3 Saturdays. So if anybody, is available, wants to come, we're trying to get paint donations so that we don't have to buy paint. Anything like that will be, greatly appreciated.
John, do you have anything that you want?
Pass.
Okay. Do you have anything, Diane?
Yeah, I have a couple of things actually. There have been people mowing this common, the cemeteries, like just on their own. I don't even think they're signing waivers, they're just doing it, and I just wanted to say thanks for that.
But they should sign waivers. And come into the Board of Selectmen's office.
Okay, that was my
Sorry,
next
that was my
thing.
lawyer,
Is that on the website, and there's a survey? Julie, you have a survey on the blog?
Yeah,
Is it on our website?
the link, I can send it to
Can
you.
we
What-
do it,
what-
like, a lot of people like don't go there, and
Okay.
I would rather have it be too on our website, and then I can share that and have people, like, I also had someone reach out to me who has to do community service. And
It
so
was me.
I don't
No.
I don't know where to send that person, like, it's a requirement, so.
Tell them to call.
So if, can I just have them, can I have them contact you? Okay, and,
We can maybe have Diana go over.
well, I don't mean like they're, I'm just saying that somebody reached out to me and said this person like has a lot of community service hours and they can paint and they can, I'm like, woo, but I didn't know who to talk to, so.
Ultimately, they'll need to see me and.
Okay, but as long as they sign a form and this person like needs some guidance, and that's cool, okay. And then I really wanted to add to the agenda, I know I had talked to Holly about this, about social media and the board taking an absolute policy on that. We have a quote unquote a Facebook page. I would like our own YouTube page so that we're not pulling them from somewhere else and being screamed at. So I would like that as an agenda item and to kind of try to make, I'm happy to upload YouTube videos, whatever the case may be, but I think that we should have a board policy about how we're gonna handle those things going forward. And Julie, I was gonna bring up too about like having like goals, but you've already written some of them out, and about the, Montechusett regional, that Ruth did say to me about, they should be giving us some money back too. So
Right.
just to keep that in our radar. And about the plowing, I have had already a conversation a little bit with Ruth about that, and she would prefer that we ask her and not send a letter because she would like to help that, because the funds that are given, yes, they do come from taxpayers, but it could help hire maybe someone back, but she wanted to be invited with the committee chairs before the board to like just have a conversation before we just say, oh yeah, go out to bid for that, because we're not gonna. So I did ask her about a few other things too, about could she help with Gilman Waite, which they're gonna do, and on some of their own time, to make sure that we don't lose those fields,
Yeah,
which is
such
really
a good one.
like not good because the school uses those too. So I have had a couple of conversations about that, and I will let everybody know what happens with the Hubbardston Board of Health, and I'll just send an email to Holly and she can send it out to everybody.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Can I
Yeah,
ask
sure.
a question?
Yeah.
Definitely need the social media policy, absolutely. I mean, it's a coming thing, we have to participate in social media, but it definitely has to have controls. The survey, I just want to make sure I understand. We can do surveys on the town site, because I don't think it would be a good idea to send a link from the town site to some other site to do the survey.
Right, right. I think it was just to sign up, right,
Just
for
to volunteer,
volunteers.
right,
So you just do a contact form, like, I wanna sign up to do X, you know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Okay.
Would you prefer, I use SurveyMonkey, we could try to use a Google form if you want, if you don't.
Yeah, anything
if you
is
don't
fine,
want
but
to
just,
use
I've had
SurveyMonkey.
people reach out to me
No,
and I
no,
didn't,
I just wanted, if SurveyMonkey is fine, as
Okay.
long as we
Wait,
can
here?
it's
just
no link to
go
anywhere
from
else.
our website right to the SurveyMonkey. I don't wanna have to go from our website
Right,
to the other website,
yeah, I can
then
give,
to.
I can give them a link,
Okay.
right, to
Okay.
that
Okay.
survey and survey.
Yeah, that'd be
I didn't really
Yeah.
understand how it works, so I just
Yeah.
Yeah,
wanted to.
You can use like a lot of different tools for that, but I just, other people
Yeah.
have, so again, I think people are just mowing, and I agree you should have a waiver, so.
right.
I don't
Please
think
sign
the
a
waiver
waiver.
should be
But
on the
I mean-
website either. I think they should have to
No.
come in
Oh,
and
yeah,
sign it.
oh, definitely, because we
Right,
wanna
I
have
really need
that.
to know
But
that
just
they're-
someplace, like people do go to the town website to kind of look around, and it'd be like, oh, there's, I'm happy to post on my page, please call Holly, if you want to volunteer for anything in town, and it's more especially, the East Templeton School right now, like I said, this one person needs you'll get a lot out of that person, so, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we should definitely, wherever we're saying it on the website, that you have to do
Yeah.
a waiver, thank you for, being willing to help or whatever, 'cause then, people need to know we appreciate what they're doing.
Yes, sir.
Probably-
When do you anticipate the move?
Before the first.
Well, I know
So,
that.
Well-
But you gotta narrow it down a little bit
Yeah.
closer.
11
Well-
PM, June 30th.
I think we had the sheriff,
Right, the sheriff's department has said that they are gonna send their folks for a week, but we don't know what week it's going to be. It's either gonna be, they're going to come like the week of the 2nd or the 9th, is that
I
right?
can call them
So if they
tomorrow
come the 2nd,
Find out.
that's gonna be too early. We could have
That's
them
next
probably
week.
move some stuff if the departments have packed up. I mean, that's the other thing that we need to do, is the departments have gotta start packing
Well, you
up
gotta remember too,
stuff that they don't
Doug,
have to have right at their fingertips.
you've lost most of your departmental help.
oh, right.
I know.
So now you're gonna have to rely on those or volunteers.
Volunteers, right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the CERT team is offered to do this, and, help out, but, we've gotta kinda know, so we can let them know in advance.
Yeah.
Right, and unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna be able to do just a one-day move everything, because I think the stuff that people don't have to have at their fingertips, we need to get packed up and moved, as we can move them, when we have the help to move them. And then the stuff that you have to have every day right at your fingertips, that's what we move on, whatever the last day of the move is.
well, we can start, well, we've got keys, we can come in and we can start taking the pictures, the artwork, and getting the storage room,
Yeah,
Mhm.
the older
Okay.
stuff.
the
Yeah.
older stuff. Either that can be surplused or whatever, because there's some file cabinets there that are, in bad condition. And then talking to Holly, she said that the file cabinets out in the hall here are just filled with stuff that no one uses.
Mhm.
So just to pack it, box it up, label it, and then just move it and put it into a storage area over somewhere in East Templeton on,
Yep.
Yeah, we
Probably
don't
that
have
front
to
room.
paint those closets.
Mhm.
We wouldn't have to paint necessarily the closets over there.
no.
Mhm.
You could go ahead and start storing stuff in them.
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll also want to make
Yeah,
sure to be
okay.
careful too, that while we may want to have, people from the sheriff's department or just volunteers from the community, move, desks and tables and chairs and things like that, that any files that obviously contain any kind of confidential information, or pretty much paperwork in general of any kind should only be handled by town employees or people, maybe like the Board of Selectmen or someone who has already a legal obligation to protect that information and can be held responsible if they don't. So we'll want to make sure that we don't have just any community member off the street picking up your hard drive with all the personnel files and and just heading down the road with it, right?
The
So
next con, yeah.
yeah. So that'd be something that we'll definitely.
Oh, yeah, he's a con, he's the next con, he's a con.
Well, it's pretty much common knowledge that whoever's in the building has to check with me. And if I don't know who you are, you're not gonna be in that building by yourself.
Right.
Right, because
So
we do need to know when people are there.
if it's not a town employee or somebody from, say, the advisory board, I'm gonna be there.
Thank you very much for volunteering to do that.
You know, people aren't gonna be there without some sort of supervision.
Which is a really good idea. Is there anything, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I know Bud and his one guy are probably busy and have a lot of things to do, but since we're not out actively you know, cleaning the streets and those kinds of things. I'm wondering if they couldn't be spending, you know, 3 or 4 hours a day, you know, helping to move stuff, you know, during the week. I mean,
Right.
they are here, if an emergency comes up, they just call them on the radio and they drop what they're doing and go. But at least if we could get them to carve out, you know, a few hours every day, you know, that'd be,
It's gonna
a big
depend
help.
on the funerals as well.
Right, exactly, yeah. I mean, they have the real job to do first.
Is there anything else? If not, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
any discussion? Not Julie,
yes.
Doug,
Yes,
John,
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes. Thank you everyone for coming.
thank you.